Dr. Anish Desai from India. Thank you so much.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, you are, Anish. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. I think I would probably not be on the video because I would like to spare my bandwidth. That can be a bit of an issue here, so I don't want to break off the connection. So at the outset, thank you UCG for giving me this opportunity to speak at this conference and share my thoughts on medical affairs in transition, evolving role of strategic medical affairs. So this is what I am. I am currently the honorary professor for pharmaceutical medicine at a prestigious institute and a university in India, Mumbai. And I also have my own company, which is basically IntelliMed Healthcare Solutions, which provides solutions to the healthcare industry. In fact, medical affairs is a branch, or it's also called as very popularly as pharmaceutical medicine in the UK, is a branch which is very important for the healthcare industry. And currently, when we look at it, it needs to exercise its leadership in what we call as a VUCA world. What's the VUCA world basically? It's volatile, it's uncertain, it's complex, and it's ambiguous. And we know today, in the current situation of pandemic, we are actually looking at this kind of a situation. We have a volatile situation, we are uncertain, there's ambiguity, and there's complexity. And why in the healthcare ecosystem this VUCA world is there, or this whole issue is there, is because when you look at the entire world in the healthcare ecosystem is changing. And so should the medical affairs, which is the pharmaceutical medicine part of it, should be changing. Because we have innovations changing and developing by the day. We have digital information coming in, we have digital devices which are coming in. And today we are looking at the vaccine part of it, which is also happening very rapidly. And the times that are being shrunk to get the vaccines out have changed. So the innovation is changing rapidly. We have the entire pricing and the insurance issues which are happening. The cost of healthcare is a debate everywhere. There's a large scale competition which the healthcare industry is facing, whether it's the pharmaceutical companies, whether it's the devices companies. And there are a lot of regulations which are also coming in and the pricing pressures. So that all leads to basically the today's healthcare ecosystem, which is highly competitive, challenging, and demanding. And what happens is that the medical affairs or the medical group is an interface between the internal stakeholders and the external stakeholders. It's a scientific bridge. It's a scientific bridge between the internal R&D, the commercial teams which are there, and between the external groups, which are the healthcare professionals, the patients, the payers, and the other scientific experts which are there. So that's a kind of a bridge which the medical teams within the healthcare ecosystem play. And if you look at it, the internal and the external stakeholders have different drivers. And a medical organization of a healthcare company, whether the pharmaceutical, nutraceutical, or devices, is responsible for and understanding the needs of the patients, evolving products and changing portfolio focus, global approach for insight collection, ad hoc processes within businesses unit for therapeutic area slices which are there. They also need to balance the external stakeholders in terms of the increased availability of healthcare information to patients via internet, novel data from internet-based technology. So we know today that the healthcare technology is growing rapidly, increasing the importance of personalization of healthcare delivery, which is there, increased availability of health information to the patients via internet, requirement of real-world evidence which may be required, and then again setting up relative decision-making power to the patients, providers, and payers. So it's involved in a very complex kind of an ecosystem. And when we look at it, one of the most important things which we cannot ignore is that a patient is at the center of all the strategies that any healthcare companies needs to be looking at it. They need to be looking at the patient centricity part of it. They should be looking at enhancing and ensuring optimal medical affairs performance by delivering measurable values with respect to the patient outcomes and patient benefits. So what are all the healthcare stakeholders looking for? When you are looking at it, it's a disease, it's a management, and we are looking at superior patient outcomes. And that's where the medical affairs team within the healthcare organizations needs to look at it in terms of the delivery of superior patient outcomes to the patients. And how do they do it? So we have to look at the entire healthcare ecosystem. And it's quite complex. However, we can break it down into 4 Ps, 4 As, and 4 Ds. So what are the 4 Ps? As I said, the 4 Ps or the healthcare in the healthcare system or the ecosystem are the patients, who are the most important, as I said. They are basically the physicians group who are treating these patients. Then we have the policymakers and the payers who are responsible today for the healthcare financing. And in all these things, we have the provider, which is basically the hospitals which are there. And these 4 Ps are actually driven by 4 As, as we call it. These are the therapy drivers, or these are required. So for any physician, patient, provider, or payers and policymakers, they need to be aware about a particular therapy. There needs to be adoption of that therapy or of that new methodology that is there. There needs to be accessibility, and there needs to be affordability. So to give you an example, if a physician is not aware of a new device that is available, he will not be able to adopt it. He may not be able to use it in his patients. If there is no adoption, why there can be no adoption? The other reason can be that there is no accessibility. I'm aware of it. I'm willing to adopt it because I'm trained to do it. However, I don't have accessibility to that device or to that medication, and which happens a lot in the developing environment and in the developing countries. I may have accessibility also. I may be aware of it. I may be, I may be willing to adopt because I'm trained for it. I have accessibility to it. However, I may not have affordability to it. So how do you then change all these things? How do you address these issues? That are the strategic imperatives or the kind of strategic value proposition of the medical teams within the healthcare environment. So what are those 4 Ds as I've coined them? The 4 Ds are the data. So the data can be it can be the clinical data, or it can be the economic data. And that data can be addressed towards the issues of awareness, adoption, accessibility, or it can be also towards the affordability and towards all the stakeholders. So data can be clinical data, it can be real world evidence, or it can be economic data. The payer data, the kind of value documents that we want to create. The second part of it is basically the differentiation. How do you differentiate your treatment methodology or a procedure based on the data that is available? How do you show the superior patient outcomes that you may be able to deliver to these different stakeholders? The third D that I usually talk of is the dissemination. You need to disseminate this data across the specialties. You need to disseminate this data to the patients. So you need a different kind of data which can be disseminated to the patients, to the physicians. You need physician education and training. You require patient education and training. You also maybe need to educate the payers and the policymakers. You need to shape the environment. So you need to disseminate the data. And that dissemination today, in today's world, where there is a lot of restrictions in terms of the mobility, can be the digital dissemination part of it. So there can be various methodologies whereby digitally you can disseminate this data and help the entire ecosystem in terms of creating superior patient outcomes. And the fourth D, which I put in, which the medical teams from a patient centricity point of view needs to have, is the diligence. So diligence will help you to get the accurate data, the appropriate data, which can be targeted towards all the 4 Ps, which can address the 4 As which are required, And these 4Ds can help you to access the situation. And today, if you look at the data part of it, there are different sources of data which the medical affairs teams and the medical affairs teams needs to have insight into. There are different data which are there. In fact, if you look at it, data can come from EMR or the electronic medical records. Data traditionally, the way it has come from, will come from the published literature. It will come from registries. In fact, several product withdrawals have happened in the world because of the registry data, which came from several global registries. So that can help you to get the safety data. Data from pharmacies, that can help you to get what kind of information is there. How the prescribings are happening in a healthcare ecosystem. What are the typical issues related to the prescribing patterns of a particular country or a particular hospital or a particular geography? What are the current research trends? How will these research trends help us to actually target the companies, and how it can help you to look at the new innovations that are coming there, and how these new innovations can help you to achieve the final goal, which is superior patient outcomes. Clinical trials are the most common things that keep on happening, and a lot of data. In fact, in today's COVID scenario, the amount of clinical research which are being published every day is so humongous. It's maybe difficult to actually look at what exactly is the relevant data, analyze the data, come out with the outcomes, and how do you then end up sharing it with the various stakeholders. Market research becomes a very, very important aspect to understand what exactly are the current scenarios in the healthcare market. What exactly is the need of the stakeholders? What are they looking for? What are the physicians looking for? What are the patients looking for? So to understand and get those insights, market research data becomes a very important part. And last but not the least, the most important data is the pharmacovigilance or the adverse event data. So the medical affairs needs to be at the core of all these activities which are happening at this point of time. And therefore, from a traditional medical affairs, there needs to be a transition which needs to happen. The medical affairs today needs to transition to becoming a strategic medical affairs kind of a function. And I'll give you an example here why I'm talking of these transitions and why strategic medical affairs and why the medical affairs personnel and why pharmaceutical medicine needs to think differently. If you look at the times probably 20, 25 years ago, and I look at it from a kind of a developing country scenario, medical affairs was considered as a co-passenger in a car. So he used to sit in the back seat. He many times would doze off also, and probably do certain kinds of very routine mundane activities like checking the water, air purifiers, or the oils in the tanks when those cars were there, which were not so as sophisticated as today. However, with the changing healthcare scenario, medical affairs has become a co-passenger, or even many times, or rather a navigator, or also a driver. Several of the activities here, when you look at it, are actually driven by medical affairs. So therefore, he needs to be, or the team needs to be engaged in strategy, in comprehensive stakeholder engagement, in terms of operational excellence, insight of evidences, in terms of shaping the environment. So there are several kinds of new possibilities which are emerging. There are new responsibilities which are there, and therefore the medical affairs is becoming a big, big important stakeholder in the entire healthcare ecosystem. And when you look at it, the medical affairs in transition, there are 5 key steps for this transition. First, define the current reality. What's happening in the current reality? What are your future goals? Where do you want to go? How do you want to shape the therapy areas? How do you want to change the therapy perspectives? Identify the gap and the priorities. Plan for success and make the change. That's where the medical affairs needs to go in transition. And this is where exactly you'll see the steps of transition. The first step basically is scientific engagement and stakeholder education. So this was basically a medical affairs in silo, which used to happen. And it was only important, it was only KOL directed and healthcare professional directed. what's happened over a changing period of time, that medical affairs has changed and focused. It has become much more focused, and this is how it needs to transition, go into a supporting function, scientific engagement, stakeholder education, and therapeutic area support. Engage your KOLs and HCPs and the payers and the patients. And that's where you need to go at this point of time in the stage 2. What's the stage 3? Very interesting. You need to again look at basically medical affairs as the internal partner. The commercial teams needs to identify that this is a scientific engagement partner, which is going to look at the payers equally, the KOLs, the HCPs, and the patients, and look at partnerships and solutions, education, and engagement. And what's the fourth step? And the fourth step in engagement is that we look at as a triad, medical affairs as a integrated strategic pillar, which is basically patient at the center, the KOLs, the HCPs, and the payers and the policymakers around it. That's where the medical affairs needs to transition at this point of time, and all the medical affairs leaders needs to look at it. And this is where it is, the traditional, the focused, and the coordinated ones. And how can you actually increase your capabilities from just being focused, and therefore being focused is a must. Coordinating the medical affairs will compromise patient access to medicines. Integrating medical affairs will improve patient care and the industry reputation, because we know that the industry reputation of the pharmaceuticals is not the best at this point of time. And that's where the medical affairs can actually increase the credibility in terms of scientific contribution, scientific communication, which is there, the decision making for better outcomes, and the organizational support, which is there. So therefore, when you look at it, this will be the core, and we can hit the patient centricity as we are looking at it. So when we look at these imperatives, we look at scientific contributions, which are continuous and value-added science process, which is there, and scientific forums. We are looking at scientific exchange, which can be digital at this point of time. We are looking at decision making, which is basically delivery and execution and performance management. And we are looking at organizational support. And one of the things which I just would like to leave a thought as we go forward is the telemedicine, which is important, and that can play a really important role. History taking, digital history taking can help a lot of payers and patients, and even the physicians. These are the kind of transformation of the medical affairs which is required, the kind of functions you need to look at it, the kind of activities you need to look at it, the scope of activities in terms of training, document preparation, external outreach, which is there, clinical trial management. You look at different kind of activities, and therefore you need to have certain capabilities. When you're transforming, you need to change. Your strengths needs to be changing. So you need to have technical skills which are there, which have always been there, which is the compliance understanding, the scientific expertise, the technical expertise, and the digital and analytics. You need to have adaptive leadership, because we are living in a VUCA world. So customer engagement, enterprise leadership, and leading with agility. And you need business knowledge. You need strategic vision, and you need business acumen, which then will finally transform the capabilities of medical affairs to become a global partner. So the last slide that I would like to leave with you is that integral. So the medical affairs today needs to look at integrating the entire activity of the 4 Ps, 4 As, 4 Ds in terms of the life cycle management, right from the conceptualization, ideation of the product till the launch and to the growth of product, and also at the maturity stage. Because the innovations are today becoming quite difficult and quite challenging, and therefore you need to see that how do you really, as we call it, as evergreening of the older products and find newer indications. And that's what we are in Telemed Healthcare Solutions. We look at the end-to-end services for healthcare organizations, which are pharmaceutical, nutraceutical, and medical devices and digital healthcare organizations. So thank you very much. This is where I would like to leave you with my thoughts. And if you have any time for question answers or a couple of questions, I can address the same. Thank you very much.
Dr. Desai, that was absolutely amazing. And thank you so much for helping us bring this back into time. Are there any questions for Dr. Desai at this moment in time?